Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another one of our classic, incredible, brilliant, fantastic, every adjective you can think of movie reviews. I think
I
that
was gonna
sums us up.
say, I was gonna say this is gonna be a sweaty one because it is baking today.
Yeah, but who knows when we'll actually upload it.
But I
What
just
I'll do
want.
is I'll upload it on the coldest day of the year just to spite you. Just to absolutely spite
Thanks.
you. And everyone will be there like, it's freezing. What's going on? Plus, there's going to be people watching this in different countries to us, and they'll be like, what are you on
True,
about?
true. But for us
What?
today, it is baking
Like the
and
poor
it's
guy in
sweaty.
Alaska who's absolutely freezing. He's like, oh, they're moaning about being warm. But no, we're
At
doing
least
another one of our movie reviews.
we
This
are.
one is on a more recent one than some of the other ones we've done. It is Knives Out, starring Daniel Craig, amongst others.
Actually, there's quite a few stars in this. To be fair,
Yeah, there's some decent names in this.
did you watch
And
this in the summer or
I
did
watched it
you?
in the cinema. I was in the
Yeah, same
front
here.
row. There was a mix up with the booking the tickets, and I ended up in the front row.
All right, so it's not a concert. Being
I
at the back
know.
is better.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We thought we were going to be in the back. We ended up in the front.
Oh,
Ugh. It was in a really nice
Planning.
London cinema, though. It was
Which
the
one?
cinema right off Leicester Square. It's the Odeon off Leicester Square.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've been there. I've been there. There's the one with all the chairs are leant back, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
one of the smaller screens, so it was just these big, comfy
Oh, so it doesn't matter if you had the
chairs.
front or the back in those ones. That's the whole point of them being leant
Not
back.
really,
No, oh,
because it
that's
was
all right
one of
then.
those ones where it's like the rows are like 6 spaces wide,
This
and
is we're
there's
doing our
only eight
classic
rows.
thing. We're doing
Yeah,
our
we're not
classic
talking
thing
about what
where
we're meant to be talking about.
we
Yeah,
just go on a tangent.
yeah, we're just here to talk rubbish about all sorts.
Yeah. I think it's our trademark now, though.
That is half the fun.
Yeah. Anyway, Knives Out.
Yes, we should warn. We never really tend to warn about this, but there are going to be spoilers, especially for this one because it is your classic sort of murder mystery.
I feel like it's almost like what's that game? Cluedo?
Yeah, well,
It's
that's what
like
it's meant to
Cluedo.
be. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
Cluedo come to life.
look at the logo with the magnifying glass. That's what
Yeah.
Cluedo used to have, or Clue if you're American.
Oh, is it different over there?
Yeah, they call it Clue in America.
Oh,
And that's
Americans
why
always
there is
changing things.
actually a movie from the 90s called Clue, and it's a murder mystery like this. Actually, not a bad movie, but it had multiple different endings. And this was back in the days of VHS. So what it would be is you go to the cinema and you wouldn't know which ending would be showing.
That's kind of cool, to be fair.
And there was a few different endings and you didn't know which ending it was going to be. And it was literally like, not even like different details in the ending, it was different murderers.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you could go to one and it would be like Professor Plum did it, or you
Yeah.
could go to see the exact same movie, but Reverend Green had done it instead.
Hmm.
And it was
I
like the
did.
last 15 minutes or so was just completely different.
I think Cluedo might have been my favorite board game when I was a kid. That and Monopoly.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. Monopoly is brilliant for a good old fashioned argument.
Oh yeah. Plus, I love the cash money. So. But yeah, the film.
So this film is one of those. It was Ryan Johnson trying to come back to form after he got a lot of criticism for the Star Wars movie he directed.
Well, he did really well with this film because I loved it. And I think a lot of people did.
He did, and he's got a decent catalogue behind him. It's just Star Wars was very divisive. But I
Yeah.
thought this was quite well crafted.
Yeah. The thing is, I do enjoy like detective films. I like Sherlock Holmes, Poirot, all the
Yeah.
others. So this was right up my alley, and I felt the actors all did a really fabulous job
Mm.
on their characters.
And it was a lot of things that made it different. They didn't just completely focus on the detective who's solving it. It was actually more focused on the housekeeper, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I think the story was quite well developed throughout. The only thing I would
Developed.
say developed.
I like it when something's well developed.
uh,
Yeah, I
but the thing
wasn't going to let that one slide.
no, I'm trying to brush past it, but you're not letting me.
No.
I was going to say, I don't quite understand why they had to give Daniel Craig a southern accent. Because he was kind of, at some point, he was struggling with it. Why not give him a somewhat easy accent for him?
I did kind of enjoy the Kentucky Fried accent of his, but
I enjoyed his cigar smoking.
I could
Sort of.
see it being he wanted to do it that way.
Ah, true, true. Yeah, but he did a really good job because we haven't
Yeah,
really seen him in anything other than James Bond in recent years.
no,
Can't think of any other
he's
films.
popped up here and there. Like he did things like Layer Cake,
Yeah, but that was years ago. I'm
Um,
talking about like recently.
he did Logan Lucky.
Don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's like he's a criminal, and I think he's grey hair in it. But it's just ridiculous movie, really. But he does bits and pieces here and there. But
Yeah,
yes, I think everyone sees him as James Bond,
yeah.
really, at the
And
moment.
I think he would like to also sort of strike out and do other things.
Yeah,
And he did really
distance
well in
himself from
this.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was very good. And they're doing another one of these.
Well,
So it's
Knives
clearly,
Out.
yeah, they've
Or the same with Daniel Craig.
I think Daniel Craig's going to be the only character that carries
Yeah, of
over.
course, is the detective. But that's good. I'm
But I
looking
think
forward to
there's
that
a
for them.
plan to do like a series of movies with him as this detective, and it might end up becoming Daniel Craig's signature
Oh yes,
rather
I
than
hope it
Bond.
does. I mean, in that case, I'm really looking forward to it because, like I
Mm,
said, I really enjoyed his character and I liked the film. They did really well.
yeah, but as I said, in terms of framing it differently to your traditional murder mystery, because it was very much a callback to classic murder mysteries, whilst also being completely different to murder mysteries. But they focused more on another character rather than the detective, which I enjoyed. They sort of worked backwards because they actually showed the death early on.
Yes, yeah, but they didn't show who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it was more framed as a way of how she going to get out of this rather
yeah,
than who killed him.
yeah,
So they didn't set
um,
it up as in, you know, who's killed him, who's murdered it. They made it look like it was just a mistake, and they
yeah,
made, it wasn't her fault, but it was
yeah.
just a mistake. And he wanted her to be fine. How's she going to get out of this police investigation? Oh, and suddenly all the money's gone to her and all this. And
Also,
then it suddenly comes full circle right at the end.
I quite liked the classic detective reveal. It was a bit different this time.
But it
It
still
was
had that moment, which you need.
Yeah, you need it, but what I'm saying, they approached it in a slightly different way, which is quite good. There was
Yeah.
also quite a bit of humor in it. There's quite a few like
Oh,
dark
it's a
jokes
funny
thrown in.
movie.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
One thing I wasn't a fan of, it was too heavy handed, trying to almost be political at times. So there was a lot of
uh,
commentary on the elite and the wealthy and the rich and the way they treat the poor and look down on the poor and how insidious the whole
oh.
thing really is.
Well, to be fair, the classic family breaking down over money is I don't think it's original in
It was more the
itself.
flashbacks where it showed the family's attitude to the nurse.
Yes, but
And it,
it all changed because she got inherited the money.
yes, but it would be things like they would just dismissively talk about how much happier she must be to be in America rather than her country. They'd get the country she was from wrong. They
Yeah.
would assume that she was into certain things because of where she was from.
Mm.
They just assumed that she had a rubbish life, all that
That
sort of stuff.
that young boy who was a bit of a what's the word I can use?
Nazi.
Yeah, him. He was funny because he got his comeuppance towards the end. I think someone called him out or something.
Yeah,
If I
they
remember
all sort
correctly.
of got their comeuppance in their own little way.
Yeah, which is nice. It's nice to see like the bad guys getting a slap in the face.
But it's the way they all had horrible characteristics.
Yeah,
Like, there's not one of them you would out and out say was likable. Even the ones that seemed likable
weren't likable.
ended up like the daughter, the teenage daughter, who
Yeah,
seems to be nicer and seems to be
yeah, but
sympathetic and all that.
yeah.
And she turns out to be a little horror as well.
And it's also quite cool that the guy who died, obviously, who he was trying to disown them all deliberately.
Because he saw what they were.
Yeah, he saw that what they'd become.
Mm.
So
But I did feel some of it was a bit heavy handed. Some of it just felt like the director sort of preaching to me a bit.
yeah, I forgot. To be fair, I didn't feel like I was getting preached to. I just saw it
Yeah.
as a film and they were making
And
fun of the
then
people.
I found the whole, apparently it is a real condition where you vomit at the thought of telling a lie.
You know what? I forgot about that.
But
That whole.
it just seemed a bit ridiculous to me, really.
I think the thing is though, the film itself did have elements of comedy in it, and I think
Mm,
it kind of fitted into the movie, into the tone of the film. This
it
sort of
did.
half serious, half sort of dark humor that they
Yeah.
sort of wove it in. So I feel like you're right, it is a bit ridiculous, but because it suited the tone of the film, it
Yeah.
worked.
And I reckon you could have trimmed 10 minutes off the movie to make it a bit more streamlined and easy viewing. It did drag at parts.
I think towards the end that you're right, they could have probably tightened up a little bit.
There was a bit too much fat, and there were scenes that just in the end weren't necessary. And I know that they like to throw out red herrings and this, that, and the other, but they could have cut one or two bits just to make it a bit more streamlined, but I think
Like-
they got a bit too pleased with themselves. And the
Well,
one thing it did fall prey to, it fell prey to the sort of classic movie, detective story. What's the word I'm looking for? Cliche, where the most famous or most current actor ends up being the murderer. Because the old joke used to be on the TV shows, if there was a special guest star in the thing, you knew that
They'd
he
be the
was the
guy.
murderer.
Yeah.
And it's
I
sort of the
think
same
Columbo
here.
was like that a lot. Columbo, I don't know if you watched it. But that's
Out of all the family, I know they have Jamie Lee Curtis. I know they have, good actors, but Chris Evans is the big thing at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So for him to be the murderer, you're sort of like, yeah, all right. And he's the one who's pretending to be the nicest out of a lot of them.
To be fair, we probably should have
seems like
seen it
he's on
coming,
his
really.
side. Yeah, it's the old cliche. For
The
a
thing is,
movie
when I
that
wa-
does its best to sort of avoid and subvert cliches,
Yeah. But
it
the thing
almost
is,
subverts itself round full circle to a point where it is just the cliche.
but when I watch the movies, I deliberately try not to overthink it, so then I'm surprised and enjoy it more. I think some people analyze it. I know you kind of ruin the whole point.
Well, with these detective things, I think half the fun is trying to work out who did it before it's revealed. Wouldn't you say?
No, because I'm not looking to do a fucking. Sorry, language. Almost slipped out.
Yeah,
But,
you're being kept behind after class now.
What was I saying? I lost my thread now. Yeah, no, I'm not looking to solve a problem. And like I said, I deliberately go in with sort of a blank mind, just looking to get entertained. I'm not actually trying to solve it actively as I go along.
For me, half the fun is working out who's done it. And I think that's true for most people.
Okay, how about most people can comment in the comments, and then we'll see who's right.
I think everyone else will be like, yeah, I tried to work out it too.
So, rating.
Okay.
What are you going to come up with?
I'm going to give it. I'd
You're thinking hard.
61 live vomits out of 93.
61 out of 93.
Yeah, about 2/3.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
you've
I
got
enjoyed
really
it.
You've got weird numbers.
It's different every time. It's different every time.
But you've never gone up as high as 93 in terms of the total before.
I know. I'm broadening my horizons.
All right, you've gone with 2/3. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go high. I'm going to go 70.
I thought you might.
I'm going to go 75.
That's very high.
75. Because I enjoyed it immensely, and I could watch it again.
I would more than happily watch it again.
I think that's why I'll give it a slightly higher score, because
I'd say it's slightly too pleased with itself at times.
But it pleased me though, so I'm hand in hand with it.
As I said, pleased me as well. There was more good than bad in this movie. There was definitely more good than bad.
I personally thought you were nitpicking, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but maybe I am. It's normally you who does the nitpicking as well.
Okay.
We've sort of reversed roles. We've subverted expectations. An old favourite of Rian Johnson.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'd be happy to see another one. I will be happy to see another one.
Well, if you, like you said, if they're going to bring out a series of these, then definitely bring it on.
Exactly. Right. Happy days. Thanks everyone for joining us for this sort of ramble through Knives Out. Thanks for watching. Please remember to remember to subscribe. Any requests for anything really? We're happy to do most things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do anything. Yeah, we'll do anything but twerk for cash.
Well, speak for yourself.
Well, there we go. You know what to request now.
On that note.
Right. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.